Quiet on the set. Here we go. Five, four, three, two, one. Hello, everybody. I'm Dear Myrtle, your not so retired friend in genealogy. Welcome to Mondays with Myrt, where we talk about anything and everything that's come across our Genia desk uh, in the last week since last we met. We have got a great lineup. We're going to learn about um, actually how to publish that book that you're planning to write about your family or orphans, as the case may be. We're going to have Randy tutor me as I do a live AI development of a song. And Hillary's going to work with us about how to create pages. And heck if I know what else we're going to do today, because part of this whole thing is having a conversation together. Let me introduce our panelists. Across the top, we have Randy Seaver, Virginia Musings. Frank is here from Germany. Maria, my timekeeper, is here. Jill, the Lulu girl. You've been called many wonderful things. That's a feather in your cap. Okay, and there's our gal Hillary over there in Wales. Ellen's birthday is today, and Sherry's birthday is later this week. She's working on the YouTube side, welcoming everyone. I want to hear where you are from and um, what challenges you may be having, because if we have time today, we will take on your challenge. I also want Ellen to write to me privately because I forgot to ask her about being able to play Who's in My Line, if she has a document or not, or a photo or a map or something. If we do, we might be able to play that. We got a bunch of maybes and some very definitely cool things to be talking about. All right. So here's what we're doing. Let's Hillary, could you have everyone except for Jill and I? And we'll keep Maria on the stage too, because she's my timing person. And if you'd move everyone else to the wings, Jill is going to talk to us. And as you do this, there we go. Thank you. Jill, what is it you're going to be talking with us about? Tell us a little bit about it, and then I'll share your screen.
So, I'm a big fan of making sure that our work that we do and work so hard on, our family histories, get get into a form that people are familiar with, and not just a bunch of scraps of paper that are sitting in a Rubbermaid tub. And
Mm,
so, I am a very big fan of making sure that I get things, I guess you might call it published, get it
yes,
published so that there's um, something people can hold in their hands and feel proud of, put on a bookshelf,
tangible.
and make sure it's there. So what I
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean everybody's got something. They might have stories, they may just have photo book, they may have. I just did a book for a person who had a diary of her uncle that he wrote during World War II in the Pacific Theater. And so she set it up so that she had an article about her uncle, a life story about him. She then transcribed the journal. She then had images of the journal. We put all three of them together. She wrote the front part. I designed the cover, published it, and she gave it for a Christmas present.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really lovely. And I can even, I want to take my blur background off and go to none here, though you're going to see my busy background. But uh,
You're brave. I would not show what's behind the screen. Disregard the mess behind the curtain.
So there's a variety of things I publish over time. I also teach, as you know, at the Applied
Yeah.
Genealogy Institute, and I publish all of my syllabi that way. So a
Mm-hmm.
student can then go onto lulu.com. They get just a link. It's not open to everybody. You can't find this syllabus by searching on my name on Lulu Bookstore because it's private.
So that privacy is something you can set, and
Yes.
but you can also make it public
Yes.
because I just bought another one of your books and you shared the link publicly. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a setting in there.
It's a setting in there. So you can keep it private and send a link to your relatives, or you can keep it, or you can make it public, very public, or you can just show it on Lulu Bookstore. I
Mm-hmm.
publish on Lulu, so this is going to be all about Lulu.
Yeah.
So you can post it just in Lulu Bookstore, or if you feel that you've got a book that has some commercial value, you can also publish it easily on Barnes and Noble, on Amazon, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So I hadn't done that before because none of mine I felt were commercially valuable. But
Mm-hmm.
my most recent book, I did do that.
All right. So let me ask our attendees. There's a lot of happy birthdays going out there. That's way cool. Um, Interesting. Sherry says, "Welcome all. It feels a bit like the Olympics with this international group." That's true. And folks, whenever you're on a YouTube channel live and you see a person's name with that little crescent wrench icon after their name, that means that they are a host or co host or moderator on that side. And we appreciate Sherry hanging out over there. We want everything, we want this to be a safe place. That's what they do. Okay, Miriam's here. I want to know if it's still, oh, you had the rain. Good. Want to hear about your smoke. Not that she's smoke. Well, she's a smoking hot grandma, that's for sure. But anyway, all right. A couple other comments. Betty Lou, John Tracy, Shaker Heights, Linda Stufflebean from Tucson. We're not having the heat, Jill, you and I, are we? Like they're having.
No, not at all. It's very pleasant here.
Yeah. And Hillary says, like the video. Okay, enough of this, but I want to tell you guys when you do that, it increases my something or other, my profile something or other stats if you like the video. And I appreciate you guys doing that. All right, are we ready to share the screen so they know what Lulu looks like on the main screen? Would you like
Yes.
me to do that?
Yes, please do.
Okay, we got it.
Okay, great.
All right, and years ago, I published two books through lulu.com,
Great.
and they're both private and easy as pie. And
Really.
I know that Christmas and Hanukkah are coming up, Kwanzaa when we have family reunion time things. We're having a wedding in December.
Right.
But this is now when you need to do what Jill is going to show us specifically that she did. Okay, take it away.
Okay, well, thank you. So I am a big Lulu fan. I've published all my things on Lulu. I did teach a course on self-publishing, and one of the students, and I just give this to you as a thought. One of the students actually published her work for that class on both Lulu and also the Amazon publishing house, which is called Kindle. I forget the middle letter, publishing, KDP. It's called KDP. And so she published the same book on both of those platforms. And what she found was that true to form, true what people say, is that Lulu does a better job with photos, substantially better with photos. So if you have a book that has photos, and I can't imagine a family history person wouldn't have photos, That's Lulu's a good place to do that because your pictures will have better rendition.
Yeah.
If, on the other hand, you're writing one of more commercial value, just a novel kind of thing or a
Mm-hmm.
sci-fi book or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, then
Mm-hmm.
KDP is a really good option for you.
Mm-hmm. I should
So,
tell you that our favorite Nathan Dillon Goodwin, our
mhm,
forensic genealogy author, publishes through Amazon
mhm,
because when I lived in Salt Lake, and he won't mind me telling this, um, and he lived in England and was planning to come to Roots Tech, he would have box after box of things delivered to our home rather than to England. And then he has to schlep them all the way over and pay extra luggage and all that. Made perfect sense. And we were happy to do it, to receive his books.
mhm,
And so that it would save all that postage and all
right.
that stuff. And he also publishes not only in paperback format but the Kindle format. And we should mention you don't need a Kindle to read a Kindle book. There's an app for my phone, for my iPad, for my Amazon Fire, for I used to have a tablet, it was an Android tablet. So
Mhm,
yeah, his book is it doesn't have photos. It
right,
has great covers, and those are
right.
probably still fine
Oh yeah. Oh
because
yeah.
they looked marvelous, the ones we've seen.
Mhm, mhm, yeah.
So don't let Kindle scare you. But back to Lulu because that's our focus.
And I mean, almost every platform handles these books exactly the same way. It's just Lulu has a huge portion of the market and has really good customer service. I can attest to that, having needed it while I published my book. So I'd
Mm-hmm.
like to go ahead and just kind of show you. Now, the first thing you do have to do is you do have to register. And so you'll need to do that. I've already registered. And I can tell that because I've got my projects up here on this line here.
Mm-hmm.
But this time I'm going to act like I'm creating a new book so that everybody can kind of watch me. Now, I've never done this a live demo. And
Okay,
so
that's all right.
sometimes there's a little bit of fumbling around, but I just want to kind of let you know. The other thing I've already done is I've already written my content. I've already got it in PDF form.
Okay,
So,
so when you created your content,
mhm.
did you use Microsoft Word or did you use
I
and save
actually
it as
do.
a PDF?
Yeah, I actually use the word processing system that Mac gives me, which is Pages, because
Oh,
it
Pages.
handles the photos better, but it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. Using Word is just fine. You just have to get it into a PDF.
which is one of the options when you do to file save as. All right.
Right. Correct. Correct.
Okay, and
So,
then just for one, we have a couple of challenges here. Let me bring this
okay.
up.
Okay.
Let's answer, or let's make this comment. What we're creating, ebooks are if we kept it electronically, and you could
Mhm.
sell your books electronically, but I
Yes, I can
wanted
do.
the hard copy, and that's the link you gave. But the reason Lulu is good is that printing on demand. What does that mean? Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's a terrific option in self publishing. All platforms provide this. The issue is if we think back 20 years before there were self publishing houses, if we were going to publish a book and we wanted to see a draft, we'd have to pay for the setup, which might be in the hundreds of dollars,
Mm-hmm,
and then pay for a copy, one
mm-hmm,
copy,
mm-hmm,
and we'd get one copy, but it would cost us $250 because we had to pay setup and we had to pay for the draft.
mm-hmm,
Okay, we then correct it, and then we go to the publishing house again and we'd say, okay, now it's time to publish a book. They would charge us the $175 setup fee again,
mm-hmm,
and then you'd have to buy every book that you wanted to buy. I want 150 books. I think I'm going to be able to sell 150 books. I'm going to give them to relatives. They'll all love it. It'll be great. And I'd end up with 100 books in my basement
Mm,
for
yep.
forever until I just got frustrated with it and threw them out. Or my descendants did. So what print on demand allows you to do is just like dear Myrt did. She went on to Lulu, she bought the book. The book will arrive in a few days. She doesn't have to pay a setup fee for each one. I don't have to have a bunch of books in my basement. And it's just buy one, get one. And it costs about the same.
Yeah. And it's, yeah, that having 150 books that you had to order in advance is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
If suddenly everybody you're at the family reunion on Thanksgiving and some people, come and they see your book
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
now they want their own, they can then order it. They'll have it by Christmas,
And you
probably.
could order it right there for them
Yeah.
so that
And
it would show up.
you're not having to mail them out, put them in the right kind of packaging and deal with international. Lulu does the fulfillment for you.
Right, right. Now,
All right.
what Lulu does is they go out and they contract with all these printing places around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then those printing houses will print it and send it to you directly.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you think you're going through a publisher for your book, oftentimes what they're doing is just being the umbrella, and then they go to a place like Lulu and print it. And then
Yeah,
they
you
send it
never
to you,
know.
and you
Yeah.
think you've got a publisher, but you really don't.
Yeah. That's how big Lulu is and
Mhm,
reliable.
mhm,
Randy
right.
has a project in mind. Could you answer his question? Can I
Sure.
use Lulu to create a book of family photos with captions and perhaps a description of the photo? Randy, you're thinking of doing this? I'm pulling you up on the screen. Sounds like a good project.
Mhm.
So so Jill, let him know.
Okay. Well, yes. And what's wonderful about it is you can have greater ranges of paper selection in Lulu than you do, for example, in KDP. And the
Hmm.
reason that is because it's very photo oriented. You'd want to get high quality paper so you don't get bleed through of your photos. You'd want to use a real crisp paper, a good pound weight, so that so that your choice of kind of upping the game on the internal content of it, the printing of it, is done in a really good way.
Hmm.
When we went to Italy for 5 weeks, I blogged I didn't really blog. I did a MailChimp out to a small number of people every other day about our trip. And
Hmm.
so what I did, and it was heavy photos, heavy photos. And I just did it in 8.5 by 11, hardbound book for me, paper-bound book for everyone who came. And I just and send it out as Christmas presents. I think Lulu is a really good option for a heavy photo type of a book. You create the content.
All right. So let's dig in and show
Okay.
Randy how
Okay.
to do it.
Okay. So I've already signed in. So I want to create something. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to create. And I have a choice. And you can see here, Randy, that photo books is a choice. But in this case, I'm going to do a print book. So I do a print book, and now all of a sudden I have choices, and it says start my print book. Okay, well, that seems pretty logical. Let's start my print book. Okay, now here are my choices that I have as I go through. So I can do a photo book, I can do a comic book, I can do a magazine, a yearbook, a calendar, or an ebook. Mind you, a lot of high schools are using this yearbook option. But
Wow.
I just want to do a print book. Okay, I'm just going to
Hmm.
do a print book. So I come down, I keep scrolling down. Okay, I set my goal here. I want to print my book. I don't want to publish it yet. I want to print my book. Okay, book details. Okay, my project title. Because I'm using content that actually has already been used, I'm going to use the same name I had before.
Okay.
Okay, So that's my title of my book. Whoops, flip down, didn't want to do that. I'm going to select my language here. Now I have to come down here and I got to go to English, and it takes a while to get down there. But, I mean, these are just things you have to do, so
Mm-hmm.
D, there it is right there. I could do it in Middle English. That doesn't seem like quite the right idea. And I pick a category. I'm going to pick history. All
Okay,
right.
guys, just a minute.
Okay.
So when I had Jill share her screen, it's not showing the pop-ups where she selected the
Mm,
language and she selected the book category. But I
interesting.
think you get the gist of it. Randy, shake your head yes, so I know you're fine. Yes. Okay, click.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'll be aware of that as we
Yeah.
go along, because there'll be a number of pop-ups. Okay.
Okay.
So now I would just want to click on design my project. Okay. Okay. Here's the interior file upload. All right, so I have already placed it on my screen, on my desktop, and so I'm going to go capture it on the desktop. So give me just a second here, and we're going to get this, and I'm dragging it over, and I'm putting it in there. You can see that it's now uploading, and this will take a little while because this book is 282 pages long.
Mm-hmm.
While we're doing that, I'd like you to pull any book you have within arm's reach, any book at all.
All right. Um, I'm going to my bookshelf, and I want everybody to do this. I'm pulling down Mastering Genealogical Proof
Okay,
by Thomas W. Jones.
good one. And I've
Yeah, I'd
got the
like
Family Tree Problem Solver by
okay,
Marcia
and I'd like
Hoffman
other
Lewis.
people to also get one of your any book. Doesn't even have to be in
Any
the
book.
genealogy vertical.
No, no. I did this as an exercise in the class
Mm-hmm.
after going through signs that you have a published book. So just
Mm-hmm.
open the front cover. Just open the front cover. If the first page is blank, turn that page. Then you should see what they call a half title, which is just the title, the first part of the title, and does not include your name or the subtitle that might occur there. In my
Okay.
case, it only shows Journeys of the Forgotten. Turn the page again, and you should see on the right-hand side the full title, your name, and any other information that the author wanted you to see. In my case, it shows the publishing house.
Okay.
Turn the page again. You should see copyright information on the left-hand side, and you should see then, preface. You could have the dedication on the right-hand side. So you're going to see different things. On Marcia's book, she does not have a copyright page, which tells me something. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So on my right-hand page of the book that I wrote just recently, I have a dedication and I have an explanation of the cover photograph because it was such a wonderful find. These orphans came in 3 groups to Hamilton County, and I just stumbled onto a photo of the 3rd group. I don't know who they are. They're all unnamed, but that photo on the cover of the book is the 3rd group that showed up in Hamilton County. And so I
So
later
Kathy is saying the nearest one to her just happens to be Journeys of the Forgotten by someone named Jill Morelli. Did you pay her to say that? I love
if
it.
I didn't, I should have. So
Okay.
then turn the page again and you'll see table of contents.
Yes.
These are all signs of a professionally feeling book that you can do. Don't skimp on these first pages. You want to have every blank page. You want to have everything on the right-hand side. You just want to make sure your book looks as professional as it possibly can. And
Okay.
that front matter on the front of the book is what really sings out. I've seen some really poor books done by self-publishing that ended up looking like looking like they shouldn't.
Well,
As a consequence, you can start assessing books on your own shelf as to whether or not they're self-published.
well, and that says something about the preparation of the author, which may have a correlation with their critical thinking when it comes to kinship determinations, etc.
Mhm.
Okay.
So my next book that I'm going to be doing, dear Myrt, is going to be a compilation of all of the articles that I've written. So that will be my family history, will be the book that I publish of all of my articles. So, and I've written a lot that I've never published as well. So that'll be pretty good.
You know,
So,
Sherry is saying that some of those self published books have that high school term paper feel.
mhm.
And yeah, and so all of this you would have designed over in Pages
Or
on
Word.
your Mac or what
Mhm.
InDesign, whatever program people
Mhm.
are using to create these things.
If
Yeah.
you are doing a family history, you almost have to do an index, which is part of the back matter.
Hmm.
Now, if you want to know more about front matter and back matter, and I'm not going to go into it in great detail here, of course, because we don't have that kind of time, but look at Chicago Manual of Style, either at your public library, it's a reference book, or have your own copy. And it actually goes into great detail about what each one of these pieces of front matter and back matter are.
Hmm.
And so it can tell you what's the proper order, what's the proper way to number it, and that sort of thing. But this demo is not about all of that creation, but rather just to kind of give you a few hints.
Hmm.
Okay, so as we go back over here, can we share my screen now again?
You bet.
We can see here that with this green part, it says that it's been successfully uploaded. Yay. It gives me some warnings. Yeah, it doesn't like my fuzzy pictures. Well, you know what? These pictures were taken in 1890. It's no wonder they're fuzzy. I'm not worried
Hmm.
about these warnings here. If they have a real problem with it, they'll actually have a reddish box with a stop sign on it, and they won't let you go forward. So,
Oh.
and I've been there, so I know. Okay, so if I decide I made a big mistake, I made a mistake. Okay, you can replace your PDF right here. So you just come back to this page here. You open up that, you open up your project, you pull this up, and you can just replace it here. And sometimes you'll do that over and over and over again.
Hmm.
Okay, book specs. Okay, now it reads your book. So it reads your book and it tells me that I have 282 pages. I'm in a 6x9 format, which is comparable to Evidence Explained 4, for example. That's a 6x9 format as well. So pretty much a trade size book.
Hmm.
I've published a lot of books in 8.5 by 11.
So it's possible, though, to change the book size using that down arrow.
Mm, no,
Not
that is
there.
subject to your creative product in Word or Pages.
Oh, so if you had,
That's where you change the size of your book.
okay, did you hear that, Randy? That's important.
Mhm. So if you
Okay.
want something other than 8.5 by 11, you want to go into your settings feature for your word processing system and
Mhm.
change it. That will, of course, change everything in terms of placement of pictures and all that sort of thing. So you'll have to go through your book again.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So we've got here then a situation of 282 pages, and we can just keep scrolling down. Okay, interior color. Do I have a lot of color in this? Well, I have some, but I'm not a lot. I really don't want to do things in color because all of these pictures were taken in black and white anyway. So I'm going to click on this black and white standard here.
Okay.
Here, but see, Randy, how you can do premium color or color standard. So one is a little bit better on the color side than the other. You have to decide.
Well, so Randy, I'm thinking if the photos that you wanted to put up in your book, let me pull you up on the stage in case you want to comment. If it were about your daughters and grandchildren, like a retrospective for the year, um, you might want to do the color standard because they're not going to be full page color photos. Um, Otherwise, I agree with Jill. It's black and white, even if, and you can change. Yeah, I'll be quiet. I'm
Well,
just saying
you
there's
can.
reasons why you might choose one or the other.
Yeah, and you'll have to make that decision, but it honestly doesn't matter. You can test it out and see what the difference in cost is as well. So I might say, okay, I want to do it in premium color. Um, uh, in fact, let me do that. Let me do that, and I'll just show you. So I'm going to do it in premium color.
Okay.
Now, this book usually costs about $8 to print. Okay.
Hmm.
So when I come down here and I'm picking the paper type, I want really good paper. And notice this little thing here. This is the global standard so that I can, if I keep clicking the little green things, then
Yeah.
I'm going to have something I can sell on Amazon, if that is your desire. So
Okay.
this will give me an 80-pound white paper coated, which is really good for photos.
Okay.
Now I get to pick my binding. I can pick any binding I want. The book itself, Journeys of the Forgotten, is published in paperback, but let me keep it as paperback so we can see the difference in color versus the good paper versus not. But
Hmm.
notice I could also coil bound this book. I could hardcover this book. I cannot saddle stitch this book. That's where they print 2 pages and they sew it down the middle and you fold it kind of like a magazine. But you don't have that option because it's 282 pages long.
Hmm.
So you don't even have that option. But you'll know what options you have
Hmm.
here. Okay, cover finish. I always like glossy. I don't know. I always like glossy.
Hmm.
Okay, now it's calculating the cost. $37.71. So the premium to do the color piece on the inside with the fancy paper, may be completely worth it to you, is about $29 to do that. So
Okay,
I
we're
can go
seeing
back.
37.
Pardon?
We're seeing $37.
You're seeing $37. That's because I clicked on color.
Okay.
When I go back then up
Okay.
here, and I'm going to then change it to just regular white here. I think paper
Okay.
type white, but I'm going to change it from premium color. I'm going to go to black and white standard, which is what the book is published in. I
Yes.
now have options here for paper that I didn't have before. I'm just going to go with 81 white, 80-pound white. I'm going to come over here. I want to do it in paperback, which is what the book is actually printed on. I'll do a glossy cover, and it tells me the price, $8.
Wow.
So at this point, you haven't bought anything, but you can test all these different options that you
Hmm.
might have, which is really handy, all on one page. Now we get to the design of your cover. Okay, now there's 2 options here. And what I recommend first is to create your cover.
Hmm.
Because I do have a PDF of the cover. I had my cover for my Journeys book designed by Vanessa Dormenet, and she did a terrific job. And we tweaked it a lot. So she was very responsive. She did a good job. She's a genealogist. She gets it. And she's a writer and helped me with the content on the back of the book as well. But you can do it very easily just by creating your own cover here. So if you want to create your cover here, then that's where you do it. They have templates. All you'd have to do, let's say for your first draft, is put in the title you want the book to have and your name,
Hmm.
and you've got a cover. In my case, I want to upload my cover. Here, I'm going to upload my cover, and I'm once again going to drag and drop the cover from my desktop, and I have to, it's kind of a little cumbersome here. I'm going to drag and drop that cover all the way over to here, and we're going to load it up. This also is in PDF form. Okay, successfully uploaded your cover. I can replace it at any time. If I
Mm-hmm.
find I have a misspelling on that back content, no problem, and we're good to go. Okay, I can now preview my book. How great is this? Okay, I want to review it. Oh, it says some steps are incomplete. What didn't I fill in? So it tells me that. I've got to do some. Okay, we have an upload error. Create an error in your PDF. It says now. Oh, great. Surprise, surprise. There's that little stop sign I told you
Well, that's
about.
what you were demonstrating for us. Very good, Jill.
Wasn't what I wanted to do, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'm missing
I
here.
think
Let's
it
go
said the
back.
size was different.
Yeah, no, the size,
No?
no, the
Oh,
size was the same. It was 6 by
okay.
9. Okay, let's go back here and see if I missed anything. Print. Okay, select
Um,
a goal. Print my book. I've got all those things filled in. I'm going to go over here. Okay, mind you, this published before.
do you think
Let me.
do you think you uploaded the PDF again, uh, the big book instead of the smaller PDF? No, because it
No,
rendered real quickly.
I did the big book. So
Yeah, yeah.
let's see if let's do this instead. I've got a second book already set up here.
Right.
So let's just do that. And the size for this book is, let's see now. I gotta go back. Okay, your file is validating. So this is a different book. It's smaller book. It's that one that was 8.5 by 11. That was the Journal of the World War II Soldier in the Pacific West. Okay, so the book is 8.5 by 11. It has 50 pages, 90 pages in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Um, I actually, and this is a good point here, I received that stop sign before when I uploaded it the first time. I then went to the chat person. You can see this little question mark down here at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I went to that person there and said, "What's going on? I don't understand." And they helped me and, in fact, released that stop sign. And I'd forgotten that they had done that. They
Mm-hmm.
released that stop sign. And as a consequence, then I was able to publish the book ahead of going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here we have an 8.5 by 11 book here. We wanted to do this one, she wanted to do in color standard over here. She wanted to do it in 60-pound white paper, and she wanted it to be a paperback book.
Mm-hmm.
And the glossy cover there, the cost for this book then was $6.61.
And
Okay.
that doesn't mean you're selling it for 661.
No, no, that means your cost is $6. When
Yeah,
you want to buy it, it's
because you're the author.
$6.61 plus shipping and handling,
Mm-hmm.
which for a single book runs about $5 to $6. So
Mm-hmm.
just be aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to upload my cover no longer works there, and I have to pick another cover. So actually, what I want to do is I want to create a cover. I'm going to design my cover. It's initializing it. Okay, and so it gives me some options here, and it's done this. Okay, let's just change this to um, World War II diary.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in here. I'm going to delete that. I don't want that. I want to put my name down here, Jill Morelli. Oops, we lost it. Where are we? Scott.
Well, this is pretty normal. I just was ordering T-shirts for our
Uh-huh.
historical society,
Yeah,
and I used the template
yeah,
and put my own map where the oranges were. The
right,
map of our island. It's an
right.
old-timey one, and put my own text where. Oh
Oops.
my, yeah.
No, oh my, what happened there? Okay, so that didn't work quite the way I wanted it to. Let's go back.
But
Okay.
we get the point.
Yeah.
We get it.
So I've got a photo of a ship that will just slip right in here, and then you proceed. So and that's all there is to that. Oh, I remember now. I have to pick it off images. This is where I have to put that ship picture. That's right. It's right over here. You upload it first. Says it's too large. Hmm. Oh, that's odd. Okay, can't help you there.
Uh,
I'd have to rework it in some way.
all right. And
This is
people are understanding you're keeping it real. These are things that you might run into.
right, right.
It's not difficult. It's just a process to go through.
It is
And
a bit fussy. So
yeah,
you do have to just kind of keep fussing with things. And it may take you a day to get through all of this process right here that I'm going through,
mm,
just because you're going to be wondering how to do it. So set aside some time to kind of plow through this,
so
that
go
sort of
ahead
thing.
and generate, and
Yeah,
so
we'll
we
just
can
go
tell.
ahead and generate the cover.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to look. Okay. It's going to be very simple. Okay. Cover's generated. Back
Now,
to
while
the
it's
project.
while it's generating, let me pull up a couple of comments.
Okay. Okay.
Ellen says she had some problems when she was using the Kindle publishing.
Mm-hmm.
And Maria says, Ellen, your book looks very interesting. I'm going to add it to my wish list. And then Ellen says, thank you. They're having a mutual admiration society going on between our panelists. But yeah, this is a very real
Right.
thing to be able to do this publishing. This is no longer print out the pages from your printer and
Right.
go down to Kinko's, FedEx Kinko's, and use their copy machine and staple it together or have them spiral bound it or whatever.
Right.
This is cool stuff that looks like with glossy covers like
Mhm.
Dr. Jones's Mastering Genealogical Proof.
That's right.
And
And
this is
Frank
what.
is right. He shared in there that if you decide that you're only going to publish within Lulu, which would be could be private or public,
Mhm,
then Lulu will give you a free ISBN. But if you want to have it sold commercially, as I did here, you do have to buy an ISBN. That's the barcode business on the back of the book,
mhm,
the number and the barcode business there that
mhm,
libraries use to catalog your book. So you're going to want to have an ISBN, and because you want to have a library, even if it's your hometown library, have your
mhm,
book,
mhm,
then they'd have an ISBN, even if it's a Lulu ISBN. You can
mhm.
review your book also, and you can see I'm kind of leafing through it here
Oh,
on
let me
this.
get back there.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
And so you can review your book here, and you'll have lots of opportunities to review it if you wish to. You can even review it there, and you can come back and you can see here. Haven't changed the title. This is the cover that we created. It'll be
Yeah.
fine. Just put your name on there, and you've got it ready,
Mhm.
and you can confirm and publish. That's how it goes. Sometimes there's stumbling along the way, but you go and fix it. So
All right. We
that's
have
all I
some.
really have for this.
Yeah.
And you're good to go.
All right. So let me bring in some comments from
Okay.
people,
Okay.
okay? Because you are actually causing people to say they're going to do this. Um, Monta says, thanks for showing us how to do Lulu. I just might take the plunge. In fact, it's a good way to send my family the information I shared at a recent family reunion.
Yep.
So you've already got something collected.
Hmm.
And it doesn't have to be your entire family history,
No.
it could just be 3 generations on your mom's side.
Right.
Yeah, okay. And Karen says, this I feel is doable. Thanks so much for introducing this to us. And then Ellen has a comment. I'm not sure if her mic's working, but let's get this in here. In Canada,
Mhm.
you get your ISBN free from the Canadian government. And then,
The ISBNs can be very expensive, and the barcode you have to pay for separately, but it's the cheapest of the
yeah,
cheaper of the two.
yeah.
But if you are going to sell on Amazon, you're going to need to, in the US, buy an ISBN.
So, Frank, share your comment with everybody.
Hi.
in Germany?
Um, in the process of getting an ISBN in Germany, you have to submit 2 books to the national libraries.
Oh, yeah.
It
Well,
can be in digital form,
hmm
but they will keep and lend these copies for everyone.
good, good. So what I did just this past week is I ordered 10 copies of the book at my reduced author price, and
Mm-hmm.
I sent it to the Library of Congress. I sent it to Allen County Public Library. I sent it to Hamilton County Public Library. I sent it to my hometown public library, the State Historical Society of Iowa. And I am going to submit it to NGS for their competition.
Competition. Are these orphan train orphans?
Orphan train writers is a term that started in the early 1900s, about 1910,
Mm-hmm.
1920. That
Mm-hmm.
was the label that was placed on them. At the time that these children came from New York City to Iowa, they were called outplaced.
Okay, so not in
So
that
I
era.
have used the word outplaced in the book, not orphan train writers,
Okay.
but I tag it for orphan train writers because that's what people will look for.
Mm-hmm. So if there's, so would you, isn't there an Orphan Train Writers Association?
There's
An
the orphan
Orphan
train,
Train,
yes. There's the depot. The orphan train depot is located in Concordia, Kansas.
okay.
And unfortunately, they do not put their catalog online. And so some of the images that I used, I had to go find the origin of those, only to find out later that they were in the catalog at the Orphan Train Depot. I'm deeply disappointed that the Orphan Train Depot doesn't put their catalog online, but they don't.
We need to help organizations like that because usually the reason it's not there is because they don't have somebody in their
Mhm.
organization that can deal with that type of coding for a website. All right, we got some more questions.
Okay.
Well, Maria says this demo is helpful for those like Randy and others who want to try to publish. It makes it so helpful, as Deneen says. Hi, Deneen. Um, and yes, I agree with Frank. We need to get, as an author, you need to get your books out um, to various libraries. It's in your best interest to do that. If
Well, I
it's this kind
contend
of a book.
I contend that families families might not value it as much as your state historical society will.
I totally agree.
And so your state historical society will probably keep it for a very
Yeah,
long period of time,
yeah,
but your family will look at it and go, I don't even know these people, and put it in the
yeah.
wastebasket.
I know. We all have family members like that. And Paula says, I'm looking to work on a book of my paternal grandfather to share with relatives
Mhm,
and the county and state. He was a career police officer
mhm.
with Newport Police in Kentucky. Perfect. Um,
Well, and don't forget your academic libraries as well. Um, the academic libraries are often very interested in it, particularly if you're in the geographic area where they are located as well. So just be aware to think broadly. I mean,
mhm,
I never would have thought about sending it to the Library of Congress necessarily, except I also, in addition to the ISBN, I requested a Library of Congress number. They
mhm.
wrote me and said they wanted the book.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, Karen's saying, is there a chance of rejection or now, Karen, follow through and tell me before we answer that because we're not sure who they are. Are we talking, would Lulu reject your book? Um, or are we talking about libraries? Yeah, she will get back to us.
Okay. All right.
Wow. Paula says that the Colorado Genealogical Society does a 9-month program. going through exactly these steps. Monta says the museum in Concordia is very small and maybe only has one staffer.
Well, I know there's at least two because I've communicated
at
with
least
two.
two. And so that so when we run across things like that, we really need to match them up with somebody that we know who can help them do it, because it would only be easier for them, a lot less questioning.
Well, there'd be a lot more sales also, because that you'd find that there was a photo there of so and so, and then you'd go, "Oh, hey, I think I want to buy that photo," and
exactly. So Karen clarified, she was talking about sending books to libraries and societies and worrying in advance if they might reject your book.
So explicit content doesn't make it across the threshold.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to write a porn book, it's not going to work.
Okay.
So, but on the other hand, I was a little worried. I was a little worried about this because it's orphans being transported across state lines.
Oh.
But it was normal back then.
It was historic.
So I was a little worried that it might be, conflicted that way. But it has no explicit content. It has it's suitable for children. It wasn't a problem. Now, when I wanted it to go, I went to global distribution, which puts it onto Amazon. They have a review period. They look at the book to see whether or not Lulu wants to put it on their bookstore, or Amazon or Barnes and Noble wants to distribute it. And they actually review the book. Now, I think, Pat, you and I remember some time ago, a guy took all of Kimberly Powell's blog posts and put them into a book, and somehow it made it onto Amazon. But as soon as they identified that he had stolen all that content, the book came down.
So
there is a
we
review.
all supported that problem, the resolution of that problem, and it happened quickly. When it comes to historical use of terms like Negro and things, this is what, and where we're transcribing things, where that kind of language, that's where the front material needs to have a comment in the foreword or the preface that describes, this is the language that was used at the time. It is no longer culturally acceptable. I don't say politically acceptable.
No,
don't even go there anymore.
Well, insanity is the same thing. They were called insane asylums.
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the 1800s.
But this is what you're doing is to the best of your ability, transcribing the document as it was written at the time period, and you've clearly labeled that. You're going to be doing that right there in the preface, and then in the body of your document, as you're transcribing, you probably are also going to say that, something like that.
Yeah, and that's a thing I mean, this book, my book has got footnotes, not endnotes. And so that's a place where there is some narrative that I've put into footnotes as well. So it doesn't always have to be a reference to a source. It can be a comment, and that might be a place you could do it.
Yeah.
But if it is transcribed, and you've got quotes around it, or you've indented it, or you've given it some other symbol, then then I would contend you probably don't have to say anything because you are using the language of the time.
Except in the beginning.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Couple more comments before we switch gears. Wow. This is really, you're impacting the ripple effect of this discussion it's just going to be fantastic. It already is motivating people. So to share with my university in that area, Paula would think of Northern Kentucky University as well as the University of Kentucky. You bet.
Yeah, you
And
bet.
you
I would
might,
just that for an academic institution, I'd ask them if they wanted it.
okay. And you might consider ordering, because you can, or an author can decide to order a
Mhm.
hard copy. And
Yeah,
you
at that
can,
reduced price, at that
yeah,
small price.
yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's really a very good price.
yeah, and as a matter of fact, the link I went to, can you give me that link? It's somewhere around here.
Which one?
Um, I want to show what it looks like when I went to buy it. Um,
Oh, oh,
you
yeah.
could have had the option for me to order it in paperback, which I did, or hard copy, hardbound, but that hardly ever happens. However, if I were sending it to the Family History Library, I'd send it in hard copy. Okay, let me get that link. Okay, I have to get it as a comment.
I guess I could have taken out
Why
all
is
that
it
part
doing
up to
that? Yeah.
the question mark, but
Okay, I can't pick it up.
ooh, huh, huh.
Okay,
Um,
here we are. I've got
oh,
it.
good. Okay, sorry.
All right, let me share my screen somewhere, somehow. Okay, here we are. So this is the
Oh,
website
that's the
about,
website. That's not the Lulu purchase.
all right,
So,
and so buy the book up here.
yeah,
I'm going to
and you
click.
I hope this all works. There we go. Okay, then you
All
click
right,
in.
and there are two places. Now let me zoom in a little. Control plus plus plus.
So this is the website I've created for the orphans because I plan and anticipate that I'm going to get new information because the book is out, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to print another edition. And so I'm going to put it on this website instead.
Okay, let me send the link out to everybody that's then becomes clickable. Okay, you've explained you use Lulu. There are two places to buy the book. We're
Mhm.
buying from Lulu because you get
I get more money.
more money
Amazon takes an
from
enormous
lulu.com.
amount of money from the
Yeah, it does.
authors.
Yeah, we did the same thing with our cookbooks for our local historical
Mhm.
society. We just sold 31 of them yesterday at our Music in the Park event. Yeah,
Good.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But we don't want anybody to buy it from Amazon, no offense. But why should we? We're trying to raise money for a building. Yeah, even at
It's
31
like a
books at a
yeah,
time.
it's like a factor of 10.
Yeah, it's
Where
incredible.
the, author with Amazon might get $2, but they might get $15,
Yeah, it's a
factor of
big
6. It's a
difference.
big
Okay,
jump.
so now when I clicked, I am now on lulu.com. See
Mhm,
that?
mhm.
And then it usually is printed within 3 to 5 business days. I haven't received it yet. And I didn't think to order it until like Thursday or Friday or something like that. So I will be very excited to do it. But it's already explaining a little bit about this. This is
You have to fill that out. You write that. You write that
mhm,
yourself.
mhm. And so this is what you would do. You could just give this link without a website,
Mhm.
like
Oh,
to
yeah.
your family, if anybody else, like I would give my children a book, let's just say.
Mhm, mhm,
And then as their children get bigger, right now they're in high school or college. Well, actually now they're old enough. I'd give one to everybody.
mhm, mhm.
But if my daughter wanted to give one to Braden for his 19th birthday, which he just had, she could have gone to this website and ordered it as a surprise
Mhm.
for him. And I didn't even have to be part of the mix. And
Yeah,
it
if
explains
you'd given her a link to it,
if I'd
but
given
this
her
is a
this,
public, I did this on global distribution, would put it into the Lulu bookstore as well as Amazon, and so this is publicly viewable, but you can
uh-huh,
keep it private by just sending your daughter a link, and then she can buy the book.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so I just shared the link
Mm,
to
okay.
this,
Mhm.
and folks, you can go from that link and set up your own account and start doing this. Randy, did you have any questions of Jill now that you've seen this whole process? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think it's very possible. I've been thinking about other potential applications. I've done some PDFs on Scribd a long time ago now, 2012, that were 500, 600 pages of just genealogy stuff, just to get it out there and throw up on Google. But that's probably onerous in terms of cost for things, but
not necessarily, Randy. I did a check on a book that was in the 500 or 600 pages. Your publishing choices are limited. You don't get to use the heavy paper because that would make the book something like the Bible. And so your choices will be limited, but you'll still be able to publish that size. They tell you whether or not you can publish at that size with the choices you've selected. I've got one that's something in the range of 500. I might break it up into 2 volumes, but I doubt it. Not if I can publish it in one.
Yeah.
Randy, tell us more about the book you're thinking of creating that you mentioned earlier.
Well, the book, I have, PDF. I have actually a YouTube slideshow, things like that of my mother's photos. And I put a caption on them, in a box to just show, like at a funeral or something like that. But most of the photos are landscape size instead of portrait size. I don't know how that's going to work. Obviously, you can print a portrait book with a landscape photo on half the page or something like that. And that might lend itself to a description of what the photo is and who's in it and things like that. So, yeah. So interesting and challenging and helpful.
Okay, I'll pull you back up on the stage. You stepped away for a minute. I wasn't sure if you're having a...
So I wanted to just quickly show you a book that I published. This is a template I used from lulu.com, this cover. There we go, right there. And this is how I handled horizontal pictures. Now here's a map, for example. Whoops.
Okay, let me try to zoom in on you. I think I'll remove Randy to the wings.
Okay, so there's you have then options to put content in of different kinds. If you keep it in a vertical format. This was a letter that I had, and so I had the image on this side, and then I had the translation on this side. So that was, this is just another book that I published quite some time ago, actually. Also on Lulu. So just be aware there's other options. And Randy, what I really like about what you said was that you're thinking of different options of what you could publish and where. And the different kinds of things that you can publish are much wider than you might think.
Okay. Bravo. Well, thank you, Jill. We appreciate you. This was a lengthy focus, but folks are very motivated by what you've shown us, and we appreciate that.
Well, sorry, it did take quite a bit longer than I estimated, right?
No, that is absolutely okay. We were enthralled. I don't regret a moment of it. So somebody actually texted me, and I'm kind of anxious about my brother on I-10 in the middle of a hurricane in a semi-truck. And so I picked it up. Somebody said, do you have a link for the Mastering Genealogical Proof? Which I do have. And so I sent that out. And that's Dr. Jones's book, and it's available at Amazon. Just as a point of information, I also recommend his book, Mastering Genealogical Documentation. Those are 2 procedural methodology how-to kind of books for genealogists, useful the world over. Okay. All right, Randy, we're going to switch gears and do some AI fun stuff. Let me pull up your blog post. Okay. So what have you got here to talk with us about?
Well, I keep writing poems and songs about my ancestors because they have interesting stories to tell. Every ancestor you have has a story to tell. And it's challenging to find the details sometimes, but this is one way I'm trying to interest my daughters and grandchildren in their ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing this now for a couple months, and so today's Sunday's topic was my second great grandfather Isaac Seaver, who 1823, 1901, and he was a Civil War soldier. He was a blacksmith and a resident of Massachusetts. So created an image on Copilot for him using a prompt, and then further down, so I had ChatGPT create a poem for him, and there's the prompt that I used for ChatGPT. I also did it for Perplexity, just to see if it's different, and a little different, but it takes that and then it creates a poem. And
okay,
8 or
let's
10
do it.
So if you copied the
I copied the prompt.
you copied the prompt, and
I think I can use the mini.
Yeah.
Now a prompt is what we use to communicate with these chat bots. It's how we just think of it as our robot. Okay. And so I have copied and pasted the directions. And let me zoom in so you can see this better. Write a poem about Isaac Seaver, born in 1823, something about parentage, adoption, married, and the number of children, and also that he was a Civil War soldier, a blacksmith, and a hay fork maker. Okay. So I am now going to zoom out a little bit, but I wanted you to see what that. So we gave it the direction of a poem and what the subject matter should be. Is that essentially what we've got here?
Yeah, and it's just really highlights of a life, isn't it? And anybody can do this. This is free.
All right. I haven't logged in. I have an account, but I wanted to do it not logged in.
Okay.
So we're going to click this to actually have it do it.
Yeah.
And it starts real quick. So now we'll zoom in and look at it. That's how this works. And let me give you this link where we are. Okay, and I'll zoom in. Whoops, I'm zooming in on the wrong screen. In Westminster's quiet grace, a child was born, Isaac Seaver, in the year of 23. A fleeting spark in life's unyielding storm, a tale of trials and time's vast mystery. His early years were shadowed, a solemn start, for Benjamin, his father, passed too soon. And yet love's endearing strength would play its part. A stepfather's arms would cradle him in bloom. Wow, that's very poetic, isn't it? Young Isaacs grew where the green hills arise. A blacksmith's forge would soon light up his days, with hammer's rhythm, iron shapes to guise, and hay forks crafted in the forger's blaze. In 47, Juliet's gentle grace joined hands in his vows with love's sweet rhyme. Yet fate's cruel hand would steal her from his face. Her life and a child lost to the passing time. But life unfolds with chapters yet to come. In 51, Lucretia joined his side. Their hearts entwined. Wow, that's pretty good. And then we talk about the they've got the 4th Artillery in there. And their autumn days together. And wow. And this is where you copy it. It looks like you could copy it here because I highlighted it.
Yep.
But you want to copy it here. Why?
I just usually copy and paste.
Oh, you do it the way where you've highlighted?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. In some cases, probably not making poems. You get other gobbledygook in between.
Yeah.
And that's why I've trained myself to use this little copy command.
Now, if you wanted to add, say you forgot something, I forget things all the time.
Yeah.
Say you wanted to add something, you could add another message down there and say, add a stanza about this, and it would do it.
I wonder if we could get it to do this. Betty Lou is pointing out they didn't do 1823. They just did 23. And so we don't know which century.
Yeah.
So let's try a prompt like that. Please.
It's harder to rhyme because it's,
Oh, that's right.
It's 2 more syllables.
So what you could do is copy all of this text, but in the title, The Ballad of Isaac Seaver, and put in parentheses his birth year and his death year, then that would put it into the context. Do you think that would be adequate, Betty Lou? Let me know. I think it would.
Might be. And if you don't like it, you don't have to use it.
Right. It's just amazing.
It is. It's magic,
Yeah.
I'm not a poet, as I said last week. I'm an engineer, and this is an outlet for me. And it tells a story, and it's a pretty complete story. The only hallucination there is something that I didn't add was that the child that was born lived, when the mother died.
Yeah. Okay. So you might have to.
Yeah.
So hallucination is something that happens with generative artificial intelligence, which ChatGPT is generative. Perplexity is a little bit different. It can be generative, but let's take that same prompt. And again, I have an account here, but I am logged in, but that's okay. We'll make a new thread. No, I forgot. In the meantime, let me go get the prompt. Okay. Cancel that. There we go. Why is it doing that? Cancel, discard. Okay, there we go. Okay, same prompt, but we're using Perplexity, which has a lot more options. But let's see what it looks like when you're asking it to create a poem. It's giving you some sources. Let me make this full screen for our viewers. There we go. All right. So among the things that we're looking, this is one of the reasons why I like Perplexity, Randy, is that it tells you sources like Find a Grave, Genie.com, you,
Yeah.
and a couple more blogs about it. Okay. And so in Westminster's Forge, a life began. Let's bring ChatGPT up and put them side by side. How can I do this? Might not be able to. Huh? I'll pull up Word and put them in a table so we can compare left and right. Because this is what a person might do, isn't it, Randy? You might do it in two places
Yeah.
and decide which you like better. So I'm going to go here and we're going to insert a table with two. Okay. And I'll get the first one, put it here. Okay. And now I'll get the second one. All right. We're going to copy that and we'll go to Microsoft Word again. And then we can compare line for line. Oh, they're putting their citations. I'm going to highlight that. Okay. So the text is kind of a pain, but we'll adjust. Apatos is now the default, interestingly. Okay. So this is interesting because we're seeing notations, footnotes. This side is perplexity. And this side is ChatGPT 4.0 mini. All right. Okay. So, yeah, there's our first paragraph to compare with that paragraph. We may have to do a little bit of tweaking side by side so that we can compare and contrast. What do you think, guys? I want to hear from, which one did you prefer, Randy?
I like both. That's why I put both in my blog post yesterday. They aren't exactly what I have in my blog post, those two. Exact same prompt, but you never know. And Copilot may do it differently, and Claude will do it differently, and et cetera. There may be one that you really like the best at some point in time. I'm just experimenting, really. So I would like to have feedback and comments or email or something like that on the blog post. Is this useful? Do you think this tells a good enough story to pass to the generations? Who would be interested in it?
Maria, you're here because we're in the last few minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You can always interrupt me. Not just visually. You can jump in. You are allowed to interrupt me.
Okay.
My children and grandchildren are not. Mr. Myrt wants to be able to interrupt me. Let's see. All right, so let's see. Got some comments here. Jill has a good question for you. Let me pull her up as well. Could you do the same prompt and ask it to do it in say a different style, like E.E. Cummings?
Yeah, I've done Robert Frost, not in this one, but I've done Robert Frost. I've done Longfellow. I haven't tried Cummings. But you can do it in the style. It's just part of the prompt. Right up in the style of Robert Frost.
Sounds cool. Okay. Oh, Betty Lou said with regard to that, the date. Yes, we got to make a distinction there. I think you can do it in the title because you have recurring names in our families. And they all married somebody named Elizabeth. Anyway. Thank you. Let's see. Frank, we got some other comments here. What was your comment?
You can regenerate the answers that the AIs give you as often as you want to, especially for ChatGPT, the steps when it starts to hallucinate something. Just let it regenerate, let it think about what you wanted from it, and sometimes it fixes it. Sometimes it even gets worse.
Yes.
So your mileage may vary.
Yeah. Good point. We only did one prompt. Yeah, go ahead, Jill.
So I was doing some proposals recently. And those of
Mm-hmm.
you somewhat might know what proposals I was doing. And I was asking ChatGPT to assist me with the writing of the proposal. And it wrote it in a rather stilted manner and not anywhere near my style. And I asked it if I could do, if I gave it a sample of my writing, could it do the same thing in my style? So, not just the style of E. Cummings or whatever, but in my style. And so
Mm-hmm.
I gave it a sample of my writing. It was just another proposal. And it changed the original one that it had given me to make it much more my style. So I
Mm-hmm.
really thought that was a great thing to do. So I could get it away from this kind of stilted academic language and make it be a little more friendly.
Mm-hmm.
It's 21 after.
Okay. Yeah. I think we've got to keep going here. Thank you. Hillary and Gwen, do you want to come up? Kind of, wave to me if you would like to. Um, Comment. I don't mean to keep you in the background. Okay. So talk to me, panel. Who else besides Jill and Randy and I and Frank have tried interfacing with some kind of a chatbot like this using AI? Not yet.
No.
Okay. And I had never done poetry before.
No, I haven't.
I've done graphics like 3 times and totally hated it because my people always had like 6 fingers and I would tell it to correct it and I had the problem that Frank said comes up. I probably should have said put mittens on. That would
Well,
maybe solve it.
dear Myrt,
So
there was an image rolling around that had a number of people sitting on a plane and it had no aisle.
Yeah.
And so I asked the question of how did they get onto the plane and to their seats?
well, it's just like the Fisher Price thing. You open the lid on the top and then you put the people in.
Well, you have to be a discerning consumer of this stuff. Count the number of arms, count the number of fingers. I mean, right now it's pretty easy to discern what is an AI photo and what
Yeah,
isn't an AI photo, but it's not going to take very long before it's going to be really hard.
I know. They've gotten to the point where you can put a actual photo of someone. Please mute yourself. Somebody's giving me feedback. Yeah, let's see if it continues. I'm not sure who that is. Yeah. Where you could take someone's photo like a presidential candidate and give it text to speak, having trained it on the voice of that person whose voice has been recorded many times. And then, like Randy has shown us in the past, there will be that image of that person saying in that person's voice this horrible text that the opponent may have in mind.
On
And
the other hand, you can take a historical photo of your family member, give it a script, and have him talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
how did you feel about that, Randy, when you were doing it?
My kids called it creepy because it was my voice and my picture, but the mouth movements were not perfect.
Right.
And but I'd love to be able to tell stories, give it a script, have it use my voice. And that's what Emulate Me did. They showed it at Roots Tech 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of the guinea pigs that you could talk to, I guess. and ask about my life. I just uploaded a 20-page autobiography, basically, and it got how I write and how I speak, and then tailored it to answer questions. And it helped if you asked a question that was in the autobiography. But it would be a wonderful thing for the grandkids to do, to learn about me, or great grandkids.
A great way. Of course, we could actually just record ourselves, do a video, but give it to them before you pass away, as opposed to let's all sit around and listen to what Grandpa has to say in the reading of his will. Frank, you wanted to say something. And then I would like to end with Hillary's screen share and talk with her for a little bit. Frank, what were you going to say?
There is at the moment, I think, a very important project done with AI and how AI can use to manipulate an image and voice recording by the Arolsen Archive and the memorial of the Auschwitz-Buchenwald concentration camp. They have recorded interviews with the last survivors of the camp. And they're now using that footage that they have from the already now deceased ones, so they can still answer questions from school children onwards. So
that's an incredible way to teach, isn't it?
It is, and it's very moving.
Totally. I haven't been to Auschwitz. I've only been to Dachau. And that was what amazed me. Oh, that was such an emotional trip, just to see how close it was to a village. And supposedly they didn't know, but I guess fear makes people not take action. But we have to think of technology, the good side of this, as using it wisely to teach. It's an interesting tool instead of just giving them a book. We relate to books because we're historians, but why not learn this way as well? Very cool. All right, let's have Hillary up on stage. Thank you. We're switching gears. This is our last topic for today. We're going to go over a few minutes, but we've been known to do that before, haven't we? Okay. Yeah, let's see. Just give you a second to collect your thoughts. We'll catch up. Karen says, I'd rather just do a video of myself telling the story instead. But Karen, I think you see how fun that would be to make Grandpa's picture tell his story. Marcia is saying, do a fantastic job of creating a narrative from a list of transcriptions of newspapers on a topic. Yes. And Google's AI is really good at multiple page PDFs. Yeah. Let's see. Ellen is saying she has used ChatGPT quite a bit. Karen is saying AI has so many possibilities. We have no idea how far we can go with it till we start playing with it. Yeah. And Randy, you have a fan. Marcia loves your blog post about the use of AI. Okay. So what? Wow. Looks good. You've changed your layout, haven't you?
Yeah, I've changed it. I was just playing around because I wanted to see where I could make sure I could actually see where the pages were. And the other layout, I think it was putting it in a different place, and because of the color of the text, it wasn't showing up. So I've changed the layout and I've put the pages on the side here, right at the top. So before I just had the home
for the buckle line and the Roberts line.
Yeah. So
okay.
what I've got,
I see that. Yeah.
Right. now I have set up some other ones as well, but I've not published them yet. Now for the book line, I wanted to put my blog posts on there, but it wouldn't let me. But what it has let me do is copy and paste. So I've copied and pasted, and I've actually managed to just get bits from a post that I did back in 2007. And I've done the same. I think I did the same with my Roberts bit, which was the same post, but I posted about different parts of the family in one post. So it's done it quite nice. So if somebody's interested in a particular line, they can just go to that and find the information in that line, rather than having to look through all my blog posts, or try and make sure I've actually stuck a label on it, because some of them I don't think I had very good labels on them.
Okay.
But I can show how you set them up. I should go to my other share this other tab, which is the behind the scenes one.
This is the back side of a blogger blog.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So if I go to pages here, right. So originally I didn't have any pages, but now I've got, apart from my home page, but now I've got a few here. So I've got the Buckle and the Roberts one set up. Now I need to set up one for this one. So at the moment it's just in draft.
Okay.
And to do that, you just if you just go to manage. I'm trying to think how I did this now. It was a few days ago. So right.
What are you wanting to do? Oh, right. You're going to publish it?
Yeah, if I go to publish it, so I go to publish, it won't actually have anything on this page. So, but you can actually just view something.
A preview.
So,
yeah.
So if I go to the DNA, like the DNA discussions preview, it hasn't got anything on there at all. If I now go to so if I share the tab, as you see, if I go to DNA discussions on preview, there's no comments, there's nothing there. All it does is just show some of the some little snippets of the posts I've previously done.
Okay, scroll down so we can see this a little bit. This is the back side and a preview. Oh no, this is preview of the front side.
This is a preview of the front side, yeah. But I've shared that other one. If I go to the next tab and start sharing that one instead, we should, if I refresh the page, it's not. So it's only at the moment. It's still only got the Buckle and the Roberts line.
That's
now I know why it's only got those.
Yeah.
Because when I went to Blogger and I went to publish that one, I hadn't actually saved it. So, so it's there, and it's there with a link on it that I've added, because that was all I'd added. So if I go to that, so that is all I'd added.
Yeah.
All I'd added was a link onto the Gadsby line. So because I hadn't, if I update,
let me have you make that an active hyperlink.
Yeah.
We're not seeing it as active, so select it.
Yeah. So if I update it,
okay.
Go to.
So this is a good point. Karen says, so you can set up a lot of drafts and have them ready to publish weekly. Can you schedule them to publish on a certain date and time? So first of all, Karen, we're talking about post versus, that's a post where you can set them up to publish weekly and schedule them at a certain date and time. What Hillary's talking about are pages where you could list links to resources for the Buckle line, for the Roberts line, for DNA, not just her post, but it could be a favorite, a list of her 3 favorite DNA people that she follows, or something that Roberta Estes wrote. It's where it's kind of like a container of resources. So as far as posts are concerned, yes, you can you can create a lot of blog posts in advance and tell Blogger when to release it. Okay, back to you, Hillary.
Yeah. Let me see, because that is still not showing as a live link.
That's interesting. We will say this: it's probably Blogger, because from time to time certain elements on Blogger don't work, but it's free and it usually works.
Let's see.
So
there we go. I've done it.
There. Okay, good.
It's now a live link.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're on it. Let's go to like home, and we'll see that it will show up. Yeah, click on home. And it's not showing up. Maybe we only told it to show 3 of the let's go to the back side. And we have to tell it, because you can show them or hide the pages, and we have to unhide that page. I can't remember where to do it, but let's do it together.
Yeah.
She's going to take us to the back side.
Right, so it's that top one.
It's a challenge when you've got multiple tabs, etc. Okay, while she's navigating to the back side of her blog, we're looking at the front side now. Randy is responding to Karen about blog posts, and he usually writes the day before, gives him time to add things he forgot or to correct typos or grammar. Miriam says, if I'm understanding correctly, a page can be used like an index of all the posts already published that relate to a specific family line or topic. Yes, on Blogger, it is done manually. On WordPress, it's done with the tags. Thanks, Randy. I'm getting the blog itch and want to start one. Just need to start. Miriam says she uses the tags feature similarly. If someone clicks on the Robbins tag link in the margin, which is different than a page, all the blog posts she's published on the Robbins tag will show up. So that's similar to WordPress and different from a page, a static page. So let me unclick this. All right, so right now we're going to add a new item.
Yeah, this is what I needed to do and to make it live.
And we've got to click your page name.
Yeah, so if I click, then I go there. I got that one, and I save it.
You've got it.
And I save it.
But you need to add your
Now if I go to the live page, share that and update
not
it.
Not showing it.
It shows
there it is. Yes, yes, got it.
Yeah.
So it was working.
Yeah, it was working. I knew there was a bit that I needed to do, and I hadn't quite done it, but we've done it now. So
it's possible. Yeah.
I had to go to layout and make sure I put on the pages gadget and edit it there.
Yeah. And it could have been added at the top underneath your text. I mean, you could drag it up higher. You could put it below, search this blog, or above it, move me. All of those move around. It's very easy. And you can change their order on this page.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is where you actually make your pages visible.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Wonderful. Okay, Randy, let me share my screen. Randy, which one were we looking at? Your 52 ancestors. This is a perfect example. Whoops. Where these are all linked to specific blog posts. For some reason, we took this one out. I don't know why the line's there. You might have taken it down. So if you wanted one, actually what happens is he's written a blog post and Frank Walton Seaver is on that post. But he also shows up here as far as the website spidering is concerned. That's when people services like Google spider our websites, our blogs, to see, in this case, any reference to a Frank Walton Seaver or any kind of combination of his name. And 2 pages will come up at least. The one that's here on this summary page for 52 ancestors, and this actual page where the post is found with the details, all the information about them. So that's the difference between a page and a actual post. Randy reminds us, Blogger also has tags which can do the same thing. They are in chronological order, which his 52 ancestors is in chronological order. But you might want to do the order differently. You might, and chronological by the date of publication, let's put it that way. You might want to do it by generation, for instance. You just might. I don't know. There's so many possibilities. It's amazing. Anything else before we close up shop today? I think we're good. I really do. What a day we have had. Quite a day of discussion. Now we're going to be here next week, and we are, I will make this immediately available automatically on YouTube, but I'm also going to start making posts. I was talking with Cindy Ingalls earlier, late last week, and she said it would be okay if I posted about Mondays with Myrt over there in her large group, the Genealogy Squad, which was pretty nice. A great Monday for great day. Any day's a great day for genealogy, isn't it? Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, panelists, Jill, Randy, each one of my panelists, Sherry over on the other side. I heard there was we had a little incursion that she had to take care of. And that's her job over there, and we really appreciate that. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your input about from the community with your comments. It means a lot and moves the conversation forward. So there's nothing left to say, but I'm Dear Myrtle, your not so retired friend in genealogy. Happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.